Imagine doubling your revenue for spending the same amount of ad spend you're spending right now in your business. Hi, I'm Jaryd Krause. I'm the host of the Buying Online Businesses podcast, and today I'm speaking with Rafal. His specializations include deep SEO knowledge, Meta and Google Ads marketing, whilst also running a team of highly successful digital marketers that have made millions through their campaigns that they've run for their clients. And Rafal previously running SEO campaigns and has been running Meta ads and Google ads and TikTok ad campaigns and crushing it for people. So I wanted to get him on the podcast to talk about how and what are the results. So in this pod, we talk about some of the businesses he's worked with, what sort of e-commerce brands they've worked with and B2B businesses they've worked with. Then we talk about the results he's gotten for their clients from just $1,600 in ad spend to $10,000 of revenue in month 3 from the work and the results he's been showing. We talk about how he sort of does it and why AI in terms of like Google Performance Max and Meta AI doesn't actually serve you if you're doing just a set and forget approach with digital marketing and your paid ads, and why, and what you can do differently in terms of targeting people from just the discovery phase of maybe they want to get help and what sort of help they can get or products and services can resolve their sort of certain problem to all the way from buying from you specifically, and how can you follow them around the internet with minimal ad budget to do that. We're talking about SEO combined with link building and also running ads. There's so much value in this podcast episode. We discuss how traditional digital marketing campaigns are just stealing people's money and not doing any work, and what you guys should be doing differently to get results with either your e-commerce business, your software business, even with just your media business. This is such a valuable podcast episode because the results that he showcases are exceptional, and I'm so thrilled that people can start to learn more and maybe do something about their ads, even if you're just starting out from scratch. So enjoy the pod. I'll speak to you soon. Rafal, it's been a while. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for your time.
Hi, Jaryd. Yeah, it's been a while. Good to see you. You look great.
Too. Thank you. As do you. We were so close to catching up when you're over here in Bali, and the weather was not welcoming, and nor was your health at the time. You caught something, and it was just, unfortunately, we'll have to do that another time.
Yeah. I've got a terrible virus over there in Bali. Basically, 3 weeks I spent in bed, and then I flew back to Europe. So that was my holiday though.
That's crazy. We need some redemption for you.
100%, yeah.
It's been a while since you've been on the pod. You guys have been crushing it with SEO for clients and have been in the past, and you still do some SEO work, that's for sure. Before all this changes with Google and everything, you guys started working on marketing, Google ads, Meta ads.
Yeah.
And I mentioned to you, like, I've got all of these people, all these clients that want help with ads, and you brought on a team of specialists for Meta and Google to help start crushing ads for people, running their marketing campaigns and scaling their businesses. So I wanted to dive in and just pick your brains about the results. What sort of businesses have you been working with? What are the results? What are the ads? So tell me, like, what are a handful of businesses you've helped that, and some examples that we can share? And we'll just let this unfold.
Yeah, sure. A lot is going on still, but we've been mainly, if not solely, SEO team for years. And then Helpful Content Update changed the perspective that we look at marketing and digital marketing especially. And when I saw this happening first, I thought, we need to start adding something else in the mix. So first we added web development. So we started rebuilding landing pages. We started using a lot of programmatic solutions, and it helped with a lot of projects to maintain their income. But then we started looking at it, what we have at hand, what we can do. And with the AI expansion, we thought we need to get into performance marketing. What it means is that we need second leg of a digital marketing in search, which is paid ads. And I've been going around it for a couple of months, trying to collect the team that shares our values, meaning we want to be effective. We don't want to charge people just for the sake of charging them and sell them some, forgive me for saying that, bullshit, right?
Yeah, just some retainer, monthly retainer and a portion of your ad spend, and we'll just run your ads. You're not looking to just run ads, you're looking to grow businesses, not just sit there and maintain an ad account when you can actually get people results. Yeah.
That was our modus operandi from the start. Like, hey, let's search for people that think similarly to us. And when we found them, we started offering campaigns to some of our SEO clients, whether they were successful with SEO or not really due to helpful content update or any other changes. And we started with some local ads in the US. This is a dedicated service for America, and it's quite complicated to get approved because you need reviews and other things, but you basically come across as recommended by Google. So for local businesses, this is a fantastic thing. You can really get your conversions running very quickly and very affordably. Unfortunately, it's not available over here in Europe or there in Australia as of yet. So that was the first thing we started with, right? I mean, that was Google Ads mainly, right? Then we saw that we can use Google Ads, especially Performance Max campaigns and shopping, to get some small or medium e-commerces going. When they were losing traffic to their informational content due to, again, helpful content update, so SEO wasn't as successful for them as it was a couple of years back, they were searching for cheap traffic. So Performance Max is a perfect campaign for e-commerce. It's absolutely amazing, but obviously there are a lot of ifs. You cannot just go in and start playing with Performance Max straight away. You need to feed Google with your data first. So it requires a strategy. This is where I'm heading with this lengthy answer. Like, everything starts with a strategy, and SEO starts with a strategy. Any business is supposed to start with a strategy, and the same for a paid ad. So it's not just paying a couple of dollars and having your results, because there's a lot of competition. So we creating a strategy where we're starting with a classic search, even for e-commerce, with the shopping feeds. And once we get the data going, we get into the Performance Max. So we optimize usually for a conversion over there to get new clients. But Performance Max, for you to understand, is that this is one campaign for all the channels, meaning you don't need to worry about creating separate ad sets, separate campaigns for YouTube, for Discover, for all of those Google's offers. You're basically creating one campaign, and you can ship your products or services to people, whatever they're touching your business potentially. So over time, it really creates a huge mass of new and old clients, and you keep working on both, on old and new. So Performance Max, it's an amazing campaign, and I think it's been shipped by Google in 2023, and it's been super popular since then.
So let me take it backwards a step. Like, we're getting into campaigns and all that sort of stuff now. Like, people don't care yet. Look, they do. They want to know, but first, like, who is this for? Who have you been helping? What type of businesses? You mentioned you have helped local businesses. Most people here listening to this podcast have online businesses. We're talking e-com businesses, some content sites, not as much anymore, but different media businesses, e-com businesses. What sort of businesses online businesses have you been working with? And what are some of the results, I guess?
Yeah, thanks for that, because I tend to go into technicals and specifics very often, because this is really something I've been in passion for years. Going back to who are we working with, this is where we started with the local businesses. Also in Australia, like in Sydney, quick example, this is local business, but it has been expanding to new cities in Australia. So this is a business that they do stone masonry, if I'm not mistaken. And when they came to us, they literally had ROAS at 2, which was very bad. And they've been using the old fashioned way to do campaigns, meaning pay us a retainer. We don't do anything. Let's Google do the trick. And it didn't work. So we took their account, and first step is always auditing the account, rebuilding the campaigns, and experiments. So this is what you're paying us for. We are here to deliver results. So we need to experiment.
Yeah, it's a massive difference between a typical marketing agency is just like, let's just take your fee and let the Google or Meta run the results. So you've got a brick and masonry business. Is there any online businesses that?
Sure, of course. I'm getting to that. Because this is where we started testing many things, and it was super successful. So then we start offering this to e-commerces, because that is an obvious target. Most e-commerces, they do have their accounts set up on Google ecosystem or Meta ecosystem or TikTok. And we started working with a business in the US, just one of the examples. I have all the data in front of me, because we increased their...
What's the product they were selling first? What are they selling?
That's a home and garden. So home and garden products, really, what they do from China, mainly and from Mexico, and they sell those products over there. They sell to 50 states. So this is not a huge operation, but they can sell to anyone.
Yep.
And when we started looking at their campaigns, it was the same situation. They had some results though.
Is this on good campaigns on Google and or Facebook, or mostly
on Google and on Meta ecosystem?
Okay, yeah.
So Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
They had their campaigns set up properly. Everything technically was sound, but it was the same situation as it often happens with SEO, right? People do set and forget.
Yes.
While what we offer is a completely different approach, as with SEO, being proactive, like looking for solutions. So we came in and we started experimenting. We started adding new ads, new creatives. We rebuilt their Performance Max campaign. We rebuilt their shopping. We talked to them to put some videos together, which are super important, especially in Performance Max, in Google Ads campaign. The conversions in couple months grew by 146%.
Whoa. So let's speak about dollars here. What were they making? How much money were they spending on the ads, and what results were they getting? And then now how much are they spending on the ads, and what results are they getting? Like just in dollars.
Well, the way we calculated that, let's put it that way, they were losing around $45,000 a month because
From what?
for not actually working on their campaigns.
So they were spending $45,000 a month and not getting results? Is that what you're saying?
No, they were losing around $45,000. The spend was at around 11. So by losing, I mean unused potential. So we brought that money back because this is how we grew their accounts, by actually adding that type of revenue.
So they were spending $11,000 a month on ads. Yeah. And how much were they making per month in revenue? Do you know?
More or less $100,000 altogether.
Okay. And so now they're spending how much on ads, and how much?
Around 11.
So they're spending the same amount in ads. And what's their revenue now?
Well, the revenue now is around $100,000. Roughly, depends on the month, but on average. But they were spending the same. And what I'm trying to say is that when they came to us, they had around $40,000 to $50,000 in revenue from $11,000 spent.
Okay.
So they had unused potential at about $45,000. So
wow. So
we came in and we just say like, okay, because natural is like, hey, put some more money in and it's going to work, right?
It's not the way
it's not always the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about, so this is what I share with people as well. I'm actually looking at the campaign today in Amazon. It's about a resource allocation, really, is working out what ads are not working so well, what ads are working better, putting it into better working ads, but also creating ads that can leapfrog those better ads they already have, the ones that are working well, to create like unrealized potential, like you said. So you're saying they were spending $11,000 ads per month and making about $50,000. And now they're still spending $11,000 on ads, but they're making close to $100,000 or over $100,000. Wow. Okay. So by just hiring you, they're making an extra $45,000 profit from their ads for the same amount of ad spend. That's amazing. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. It's been a lot of A/B testing, but everything is there. Like Google does offer that. Meta does offer that within the ecosystem. You just need to go in and be creative, right? Let's do A/B testing.
This is a wild thing. How long will they so the ads will just coast? They're letting the ads coast, right? Like the AI. This is the funny thing. Like even some of my friends say, oh, you just set up the ad and Google will, our Facebook or Meta and Google, they'll work out who they need to put the ad to that's going to get you the best return on your investment for your ad spend and sell you the most amount of products. Well, I mean, it can work for a certain period of time, but after a while, like it's a black box. It's like you're putting this money into this black box and they're determining what return you're going to get without you understanding how it actually works, versus putting the Google Max campaign to the test and testing it against other campaigns. And the same with the Meta ads, is putting that AI, like just go to everybody and then test it with other ads. Is that what you've been doing?
Well, yes, something similar. Like we went heavily onto understanding, not letting AI understand, but we wanted to understand what kind of clients do we need and where they are, how they can behave, and what kind of creatives they can actually resonate with. So we weren't just, all right, we want Texas and here are our creatives, do your magic. Because that's not the best idea to do, because you can spend a lot of money. You might have some results though, right? So don't get me wrong. Google's or Meta AI is smart enough, but those results are going to be average at best. And you reach the moment when it will be degrading. We as humans, we have this ability to understand beyond the closed ecosystem. So we need to go into research and we can find people and we understand, due to the tools provided to us, how those people are actually behaving online and what kind of ad we can put in front of them. And again, Google Ads, ecosystem, Meta, TikTok, whatever, these are just tools. You need to be skilled and you need to have a good approach to use those tools, right? It's the same like with SEO, with anything else, like whatever you think about.
I love that point, Raf. So that's one example. And so you use them, help them optimize their Google ads and their Meta ads. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. What other sort of online businesses have you been working with, like maybe e-com or a different type of online business, to help them optimize or start ads even?
Well, we're still in progress of a fantastic case when we have 12 languages on the project, and they came to us being recommended.
What's the business?
This is an e-commerce with 12 languages, starting from Hungarian.
What's their product?
The product is in a Formula One items.
Oh, so
collectibles.
Is it e-commerce? Like they're selling like cars and stuff, or?
Not cars, like, this is like a fun shop, let's put it that way.
Okay, like merch, yeah, right.
Yeah, kind of merch, and it's a huge thing, right? And have a lot of languages, a lot of countries, so a lot of differences. And what we witnessed when they allowed us to go into their campaigns, that again, everything was automated. So someone took money, they set up campaigns, and they're basically shipping really random content to random people. And so again, our approach was start from the ground up. Let's do the research. Again, keyword research, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just Google, also TikTok. They have a TikTok shop, right? And they had this poorly set up. While TikTok is an amazing source of potential revenue for you because it's really targeting people very well. So, for example, quick tip, we used something that is called PP ads, however that sounds, to actually we wanted not to only understand who are we targeting, but also what our competitors are doing and if what they're doing is actually working. So we wanted to find out what graphics they're using, what videos they're using, what kind of headlines they're using, right? So we rebuilt first American campaign because, again, 12 countries and 12 languages is quite a sophisticated process.
Yeah.
And what we found out that Google and TikTok started working a lot quicker, but it did not provide any sales for the first month or two. But it started providing a lot of sales from month 3, 4, and onwards, and it keeps growing. And the same with Google. We didn't spend that much because we just spent in the first month around $1,600, and we got them just 2 sales. But the second month we spent the same, and we generated for them around $3,000 in sold items without increasing the budget with optimization and A/B testing. It's just ongoing process. So for the last month or a month before, we spent about $2,000 and we've got around $10,000 in return. And it's just by working on those tools, you can maintain your budget and you can lower your cost per acquisition. Yeah. And this is how we do it. So we rather not work with hundreds of projects and, having automated processes. We rather, as with SEO, go in deeply, understanding everything, what we need to understand and create campaigns that are successful. And also, we are a bit of a data freaks ourselves.
That's why I like you guys, because I hate the technical stuff and just like, guys, you need to just speak to Raf and Rad because you guys just get into the data, get into the weeds and understand that. And that's what really ads is about, right? Ads is about understanding the data, understanding what location, targeting, how much it's cost per click, click-through rate, return on ad spend, which ones are the best, which are the campaigns that are working the best for which locations and with specific people. And then how do we make sure we funnel more ad spend to that and then create ads that are slightly better. And that's what you're doing. With the same amount of ad spend, you've gone from $1,600 a month for 2 sales to $3,000 a month in month 2 for $1,600 in ad spend to $10,000 a month for $1,600 in ad spend. So you've got basically, and as you grow, you're getting more and more data, which only means your ads become more profitable. Dare say in month 4, who knows what's going to happen. But then once you start to see maybe, say, for example, in month 4, $1,600 in ad spend, and you say you get like $13,000 to $14,000 in revenue, you can increase that $1,600 quite like to $2,000. It's not a whole massive increase, but that's going to increase your results too.
Yes, because once you understand what's working for you, what's the best CTR and the lowest cost per acquisition, then you can pause other campaigns and you can put a bit more fuel into the working campaigns, into the most successful ones. So that's why you need to be proactive on the account. You just cannot leave it. And again, I keep repeating myself, but this is what I've witnessed so many times and just makes me angry a little bit that people do take money and actually do not work on the campaigns.
Yeah.
But when you do it, you have a lot of opportunities. And important information here, people do not know that, but Google, for example, Google is still growing in numbers of brand new searches, meaning 15% of Google searches are brand new every month. What is happening that, people do search differently because their behavior is changing, right? So you had your accounts, for example, you had your classic search set for exact terms, but people do not search that anymore. And you're wondering, why is my campaign going down? Like, I do spend money, but I do not really actually make money out of it as much as I used to. Right? Well, because people do search differently now, because they understand Google is smarter. So what they do, people do search for longer terms, very specific. We used to call them in SEO long tail.
Long tail, yeah.
And also, there are new products coming up, new names, right? If you do not observing the ecosystem you're operating in, you might not notice the influencer just shipped something similar to your product, or even something like your product, but naming it differently. And you're not showing up for this because you do not actually looking at it.
That have a target audience that you could target as well. So like the ecosystem is changing so fast. And like you're saying, if you're not keeping up to date with it, you're just getting left behind and spending money. It's scary that people don't realize that they're spending $2,000 a month or more for ad management, and the ads are getting managed by Google and not the marketing agencies, unfortunately.
It happens way too often.
I would say like 70% of agencies do this. It's just crazy. It's ludicrous, and it's always been this way.
Well, it was the same with SEO, right?
Yeah. A set and forget approach is what you say, right? It's like, okay, here's the setup fee. We charge a setup fee, but we don't keep ongoing changing things.
Yeah, well, you need to be, and also searching for new platforms, right? That's also super important, because what people tend to do is that, all right, I've got my ads going on Google, and hey, this is actually working, so do not search for more. Wrong, right? Wrong, very wrong, because you need to understand the cycle of people's decisions. Right, you need to understand where you're hitting them, and you need to find as many places to hit potential buyers as possible. What I mean is, you might have a product that is super popular, let's say, on Pinterest, because you're selling wallpapers, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you don't understand the ecosystem again, or you're not hiring good people, they will keep you on Google Ads on the very bottom of commercial queries, which is fine. It's going to make you some money, but you're never going to be the brand that actually takes people when they think about wallpaper, through all the stages to the purchase. So Pinterest is a perfect place to be, right? And it's not super difficult to set up. If you have some pictures of your product, you can put some videos together with AI. You can create a very nice and tidy account, and you can run your ads over there, which I think a must have for so many businesses and is being overlooked.
Yeah. Like when you talk about you can follow their journey from the start of them thinking about, I want the product, all the way to them purchasing the product from you. And you can follow them around the internet doing that. You can start from their search, you can target them with Google search, how they're searching for it with a long-term search or a long tail keyword, to getting them to your website, to putting it, pixelating them, and then maybe selling it to them on Facebook or Instagram, and just following them around until they make the purchase from you, since they've had the idea of I might want to purchase this product.
Absolutely. I wanted to tell you one more thing about the type of business that we work with, we've been successful with. Yeah, I hear that very often, that digital marketing is not for a B2B, right?
That's ridiculous.
I've heard that very often. We just go on conference, meet people, and then we make a deal. We rather not invest in digital.
That's a very unsystemized approach and costly in terms of hours.
Yeah, very old-fashioned. And I hear that very often on both sides of the pond. It's not like in Europe only. In the US, it's even more often, I'd say. And what I hear is that, Rafal, we tried that and it didn't work. There we go, right? Show me what you have. Don't pay me. Yeah, just show me your account, show me your Google Search Console, show me your Google Analytics, and let me have a look, right? If I have idea, then I bring that forward to you. No charge. And what usually happens is that people were doing this wrong, right? They were doing SEO wrongly, but that's another story. Performance. they weren't actually doing performance. They were sending people very, very often to the product page. Let's say it's a B2B, they're manufacturing huge machines, right? Or whatever, right? Huge machines that can be used in like 20 different industries across the globe, right? But what they have a simple, isolated website, very simple structure. When they have a homepage, 3 products, 4 blogs, and 4 of those blogs actually about the director getting a new car, right? Joking. If you approach it that way and you start sending your potential clients from Google, for example, to those pages, you're not going to be very successful. Because what are the odds that someone is actually randomly searching on Google for this kind of machine that costs $200,000?
Right.
So I'm getting to my approach that usually works. Again, it's followed by the research and keyword research and understanding people's behavior and competitor analysis as well, right? So it's not a random thing. So it's not a random thought. So what we do is that we say like, all right, then let's say these machines, who are these for? So we get a brief and the research with our client. It says like, oh, they're used in medical facilities. They've been used in prisons. They've been used XYZ, right? And we say like, all right, then. So we need to find keywords, find a way and to create an SEO and performance campaigns for those specific keywords, for those specific problems, right? So that's the first point. So we usually create landing pages explaining what this machine is for, who's been using it, what's the financials, etc., etc.
And that's just a blog post that you can tag them on and retarget to them.
Like a landing page, usually.
Yeah.
Like a product landing page, but for a very specific audience. So
right.
Let's say you were responsible
by maybe using that machine. And they're like, well, how do I get, like, what's this? How does this machine work that could solve my problem? And then eventually they realize through you following them around that you're like, about this machine, how would you like to buy one? So you're basically doing like what every good marketer does is you take them through discovery. Here's this idea. Here's this problem. I can solve it. How do I solve it? Here's these different ways you can do it with these different machines. And then here they are for sale. So you're just showing them, helping them discover it, and then educating them to a point that they're like, I need to purchase this product, right?
Indeed, yes. If you're buying something, you want to buy from people. Do you know that they've been doing this in your industry? You know that you want to know whether they have experience, like with installing, for example, this machine in your factory or whatever, right? So this is easier for targeting and this is better for explaining and it works just better. Obviously, there are low volume keywords very often associated with it. That's why with this kind of campaigns, you need to combine a lot of different channels, right? So you need to combine like a proper performance, which is SEO and search engine marketing, like paid ads on the various platforms together. And this is when it's going to work for a B2B, for that type of B2B. There are different types like software as a service as well. That's the same approach. If you have a SaaS business and you're creating landing pages that just features, why should I buy that, right? I can get onto your website, but I will probably never actually even take a trial because I don't know whether you are for agencies, for example. But if you have a service that has a landing page explaining, hey, this is actually for agencies and we've helped those agencies before XYZ, then it resonates with me because I understand that you understand my problems and your tool can solve my problems. So it's simple as that.
Yeah.
It sounds very simplistic, but what I'm learning during my career that simplicity is a method and is very often overlooked and people trying to get around it, complicate stuff. Hiring $500 an hour specialists, trying to find what are the miracle.
People think because it's hard, I agree with you actually, Raf, is like because something is hard to get, people think the strategy to get it must be hard. Typically as a default. Whereas like if anything, what I've realized is the most successful people in life, they have not made strategies hard. They've started to strip things off and make things even simpler and simpler and simpler. And the people that are the most successful have the most simple lives because they get it's not like we shouldn't make it difficult. Like we should make it pretty simple and understand each part and how it works and moves. Like why does somebody discover something to end up purchasing it from that same company that wrote the blog posts in the first stage? Because they understand how to like actually help people solve a problem, not just here's this product that you need that you don't know you need yet and try to shove it down their throat, right?
Yeah, absolutely. When we're talking strategies with businesses, and some of them are smaller businesses, but some of them are international businesses as well, and they're equally complicated. They overcomplicate stuff, and they're hiring a lot of different people, doing a lot of different things, and the strategy has 40 pages or so. I'm not saying I'm the best strategist in the world or whatever, don't get me wrong, but I've never witnessed long, complicated strategy working fully, right? Because how you implement the methodology to actually run the strategy, because strategy is the first step. The second is actually method to run and proper the strategy, right? So whether the OKRs or simply KPIs are equally difficult. So the strategy is supposed to be one page. Quickly, what we do have, for whom we are producing or selling this, and what are the steps that we're going to take next to deliver, and what are the goals, right? The simpler, the better. And the smaller business you have, the simpler the strategy should be, right? So even if you have a solution for, and that's very often with ads though, people coming over and say like, oh, I have a product for X, Y, Z in the entire alphabet. And we just hold on a moment. Who is from this alphabet willing to buy first, right? Who's going to buy it first? Who you have experience with, right? And they very often say like, hey, all right, the fisherman is going to buy first because they need that. There we go. So this is where you start. This is where you build your credibility. This is where you test your ads when you start having positive ROAS. And this is where you starting, and then you're moving to the next stage. And the next stage, there's no situation like can get on entire market straight away or spread yourself thin on the entire market.
Yeah, I agree. You just spread, like you said, great words, spreading yourself thin with your ad spend and not getting it right, focus on one thing and get results, and then adapt from there once you know the data. Raf, where people after listening to this will be like, all right, this guy knows his stuff. He knows marketing very well. Is there somewhere that we can send people that they can reach out to you, or maybe like, or first before that, like how do you onboard or take on new people? Do you, because what you used to do and still do with some of the SEO clients is like, I've got a landing page and they'll reach out to you, and then you sort of assess where they're at and then sort of put a bit of a strategy towards them. You don't typically hold them accountable to work with you guys or anything like that. How does it work with your ads? Yeah. How do you take people on? Because it might be different, right? Or is it similar?
Well, it's pretty similar. What we do first is a quick chat. Have a chat with us, right? Tell us what's hurting you, right? Or where you want to be. Show us your account if you want. We audit this account for you for free. You don't need to pay us. We just want to learn. Right? We give you advice. If you want to use our services afterwards, perfect. If
so
not, that's also okay.
Ad account. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, ad account. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like
for free.
For free, yeah.
Okay. Amazing.
This is like 40 to 50 minutes overview, and we look at the account and we see what we can do better. We look at the past data. If you don't have account, let's have a chat and see and understand where you want to be. And the way to contact us, I think what would be best is the same way as we have with SEO, meaning on your website, we put a quick landing page so people can read a little bit more about service, learn some success stories over there. And then there's going to be a contact form directly that's connecting with me. And then I'll reply and we take it from there.
Amazing. All right, guys, I'll put a link to that landing page in the show notes. There'll be a bunch of success stories there about some of the results that we've gotten there. And yeah, just chat to Raf. So it'd be silly not to if you've got an ad account and you can get a free audit.
Yeah, it's such a great offer, right?
It is amazing. Especially I've referred to you people for ads as well as SEO, and people have gone away and gotten so much value, and they seem like they're in a position to start right away, and we thought they were, but they weren't. But they got so much value just from the conversation, which is, I take my hat off to you for that. So thank you.
No worries. That's always a pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on, guys. Raf, and look forward to, I think we'll have to do another one of these maybe in a month or two and share some more results, and yeah, just sort of showcase to people like it doesn't need to be a set and forget ad strategy. It should be very tailored and very specific in the most simplest way. And you don't have to run it yourself. There's so many people buying businesses that are going to learn how to run ads when you could pay somebody to do it that's going to get a better result than when you're just learning it anyway. This is what I always say to people is like, and that's why I wanted you to start doing ads as well. Like back in the day, I was like, man, I've got all these people like that need help. And you guys started on your own accord. So happy for that.
Yeah, it took us a moment. Again, I would rather take it slowly, but do it right.
Yeah.
We have everything we wanted. First and foremost, the people we always wanted to run the projects for us. We're happy to take some projects on.
Awesome. Thanks again, Raf. Speak to you soon.
No worries. Speak soon. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.